Flosstube, good morning. It is Helen D. Today is Tuesday, October 24th. I hope everyone's doing well and their week's off to a good start. Thank you for spending some time with me to talk all things cross stitch. Thank you to everyone who always comes back, all my subscribers, video after video, and anyone who's new or just discovering me for the first time. We talk all things cross stitch here. I like to think I do other crafts, but I really don't. It's all cross stitch. So that's what we're going to do today. The last couple of weeks, I posted 2 videos last week because I'd gone to the Stitch New England retreat and I wanted to do my recap of that. And I did an unboxing of the Autumn Lane Stitchery Halloween box. I thought I'd keep that one separate. I know some people don't like to watch unboxings, and then you had the choice. You could just skip it. Also, then I could keep all the spoilers in one spot because I don't want to ruin it for anyone that hasn't gotten theirs yet. Then I had to put everything away, which led to a much needed cleanup. But now things are just a mess because they always get worse before they get better, right? I'm still in worse phase. Parts are better, parts are not. So that's where we're at around here. So other than that, I've just been working on a few projects. I do have a lot of fully finished things to show today. Life stuff is just more of the same. We're definitely in fall now. All the long sleeves are out. Unless you ask the teenager who's still going to school in shorts and a t-shirt. The garden is completely done. John pulled everything out. He planted garlic last weekend, thanks to Lynette. We planted our Lynette garlic. I have 5 tomatoes ripening on the windowsill. That's the very last of them. When those are done, I probably will do one last batch of roasted tomato sauce. And then we need to do salsa. We freeze our tomatoes and do salsa in the fall so it's cooler and we can do it all at once. Usually takes 2 days. I always get asked, well, what recipe do you use? It comes out of this book, the Ball Book of Home Preserving. We use the vegetable salsa. You know the recipe's good, or we think it's good, when the page is covered with splatter from making it. We also put Post-its on all the recipes we make. We put Post-its of notes, measurements. Did we change anything? Would we have liked to have done this instead? Do we need to use this certain pot? Just so that we remember the next year, because we don't always remember. So that's that. Now we'll jump in. So like I said, I do have some fully finished things, and 4 of them, I guess technically, I have 2 new releases. I had mentioned these in my recap of the retreat video because one of them I put together and included in the retreat goodie bag. But Carla is just returning back from farming. They had a long farming season this year, longer than she usually does. So she's just headed back. Her shop is reopened. You can order now. PDFs are immediate and shipping will resume. Right, she's got to get home and unpack, so probably, I think she has a date. She has a date on her website, but she just needs a couple days to get situated. So I have 2 charts. They both have 2 designs that are similar, but tweaked just a bit. So the first one that was in the Stitch New England box, I called Mushroom Mayhem, and it's a skunk on a log. So the charts have the stand-up version. I originally did them as strawberries. And then I thought, well, not everyone likes to stitch strawberries, so how could I tweak it to make it work for a stand-up? Now I have to tell you on this guy, my son helps me with the charts, like formatting the back page with the grid and all this stuff. So he gets paid to help me with the charts. So he's helping me with this one and he goes, what is that? I said, that's a skunk. Have you ever even seen a picture of a skunk? So he was not impressed. He said it needed more white on it. So this is the berry, this is the stand-up. So the way I stitched them was, the berries are stitched on, this one was on a 32 count vintage smoky night. Stormy Night. It's smoky white and stormy night. Vintage Stormy Night, which is the gray. I used 3 different Classic Colorworks flosses on this one. Wagon Wheel, Hollyberry, and Little Sprout for the green. And then on the stand-up version, which is stitched on the 25 count Vintage Stormy Night, I used the DMC. I did a DMC conversion. This one, the brown, I mean, they're not the same brown, but this Classic Colorworks has a dark and a light, and this matches to the dark. That was the closest I could get. The light, I couldn't really find one. Because on a 25 count, I like to use 3 strands of floss, and I didn't want to use that much fancy floss. That would chew up a lot of floss. The other thing about this one, and I mentioned this right on the chart, because as a stitcher, I would like this mentioned right on the chart. 2 of the flosses on there, it's 1 stitch for a nose, 1 stitch for an eye. I wrote down the DMC color that I used. You could grab a scrap of any pink or blue that you have going. You don't need to buy a whole skein. And this is how I finished. Ooh, it's heat kicking on season, folks. We talked about that last video. The heat is on. We have a room above the garage, which is basically our living room. It's been on up there, but it hasn't really been on anywhere else, but just kicked on. So now it's time that I have to remember to turn the heat off. So that is Mushroom Mayhem. The other one is Acorn Abundance. And this one is stitched on Vintage Country Mocha. So this one is a squirrel on a giant mushroom collecting his little acorns. I did the same treatment on the top. He didn't harass me about my squirrel. I did choose to do a gray squirrel because that's what we have here. And it'll be easier to show you on this one. So this is the stand-up. Again, this one's done in the DMC. This one's done in the Fancy Floss. This one only uses the Hollyberry and the Little Sprout, and one of each is enough, right, for both charts. So I did use Smyrna crosses in the mushroom on both of them, just to give it a little dimension. So that is my gray squirrel Acorn Abundance. I had really wanted to do a strawberry. I love stitching strawberries. I love finishing strawberries. I thought I kind of want to do a strawberry. So I came up with this idea first, and then I decided he needed a friend. So they are complementary berries. Berries are hard to hold and show. So there they are. So again, those are both available on Cobweb Corner right now. The PDF is immediate. You get like a confirmation email, and there's a link in the bottom. And then the printed charts Carla will be mailing once she is back home and situated. Man, that's a lot of tractor sitting. I haven't had a chance to really talk to her since she's been gone, so I keep being like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? I miss talking to you. So hopefully we can have a video chat soon. All right. The other finishes I have to show, these are something that I actually finished a couple weeks ago, but I held off showing because they're from a hands-on design chart called the Tree Lot that was originally from the Jingle Ball last year. And I had a feeling she was going to be releasing it soon. So I kind of held off hoping she'd be releasing it so that when I showed it, you could actually get it. And she did. So the Tree Lot is now available. It's 3 separate trees. Kathy Haberman finishes them in these little buckets. But when she showed this chart at the Jingle Ball, I had these that I had picked up. I already had them. And they're like, these are for place cards, like at a wedding or in a table or holding a picture. I had picked these up because I thought they'd make good tree trunks. So when she showed the Tree Lot, I was like, oh my gosh, I can finally use those tree trunks. So I did. So here is I finished all 3 of them. They're on their little stumps, so they stand right up on their own. So this is tree number 1. I think they were lettered in the chart pack, but tree number 2. I did the ones with the pinks and reds with red on the back. And then tree number 3, I used a green on the back. And tree number 3, this is a Jabco pin. So I just poked it right down in there. If I'd had a star, that would have worked great, but I thought the cardinal, he's the perfect shade of red. So then I thought berries were hard to show all together. There's my 3 trees. Yes, I did a tutorial. When I put them together, I did film a tutorial, and that's another reason why I was like, I'm kind of waiting until Kathy comes out with the chart so that if you're interested, you know, and you want to see a different way to finish them, it's ready for you. So that tutorial I probably will put out next week. It's all done and ready. I'll put my template on my website, theeastcoastcrafter.com. But all I did was I measured out from the stitching a 1/2 inch down, made a big line. A 1/2 inch, I went from the widest part, made a little dot, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch from the top, connected them. Same on the other side. Or you could lay your ruler and just measure out a 1/2 inch and draw a straight line. So it was a straight triangle. And then I sewed them and glued them, and they're ready to go. And then the reason I had bought these things, which I will link below, there's 100 different options. So if you want a different looking wood or a bigger pack or a smaller pack, right? I'll link the ones that I bought. There's a bunch of options. And if you don't want the giant trunk, this is the other one. I'd seen people finish with these before, which is just the flat ones. These would look equally as cute. But then I was searching for the trunks in the same kind of design. The reason I bought the trunks was sitting in my to be finished bin from literal years ago. I stitched this in 2019. Every time I've shown stuff waiting to be finished, this has been in there. So this is a Prairie Schooler. I don't remember what book it's from, but they have 2 books of Christmas trees. One of them has been reprinted and one has not. And this is from the one that has. This is on a dark green fabric. It's a picture this plus 18 counts. So this is good size, even on an 18 count. These were on a 14 count. Like there's a big size difference. I finished it exactly the same way, only on this one I used pom-poms. I had some tree fabric and I had a snowflake Jabco pin that I put in the top. So these, I want a whole little forest of trees. I think it would be much bigger. Any of the Liz Matthews trees I could finish the same way. I might have to start one of those this winter. So those have been waiting for me to show you. And there they are. So that tutorial, like I said, will be out probably next week. That's all my fully finishes, which is funny. It's like, oh, I haven't really worked on much, but I have, just not super recently. Like those were from a bit ago. Let me move those all out of the way. I'll push them over by Emmy's water. So finishes, I don't have any, no finishes. I finished one of my secret ornaments, but I can't show you that quite yet. Whips, I have a lot. And then I also grabbed my like Thanksgiving-y winter things that I'm hoping to switch over to. So I've been plugging away on Halloween, although let me start with this one because it doesn't fit the bill. This is Live on Little. I filled in a bunch. I outlined a bunch thinking I could fill it in at the retreat. Didn't even touch it. I don't even think it came out of the room. So I'm hoping to fill in at least a little bit before it gets put away. So Live on Little, I'm still woefully down there by that sailboat. Looks pretty much the same. I did finish the waves. No, sorry, it's on this side. I finished 2 rows of the waves. These I already had. I'm hoping to at least fill in the sailboat, and I'd love to get this little section filled in of the blue before I tuck it away to be hidden away and not worked on. So there's that one. Then I was working on some fall and Halloween things. And like I said, I'm kind of ready to switch over to Thanksgiving things. So I had one Halloween thing and one large fall thing that I knew would not get finished this year. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna set myself a goal and I'll get to that spot and then I'll stop for the year. So that's what I did. So the first one is flying lessons from Silver Creek Samplers in my cool Quilting with Nico bag. Here it is. So Silver Creek Samplers, flying lessons. A lot of people have stitched this. When I started it this year, I just had the word night because it's right in the middle. I'm a center starter typically. So I was working up. So I thought I would like to finish all of this. And then next time I will have all of that. And I got it done. I'm stitching mine on 14 count Hazelwood from Fiber on a Whim. And I did switch a couple of the colors. I switched the green out for a purple. I'm using Classic Colorworks. It's Purple Aster. I think it's Classic Colorworks. I can hear a whole bunch of geese. The yellow then was too bright, the called for DMC, so I switched that. Classic Colorworks Purple Aster. I have a new one of these coming from Penny because that's all I got left. I ordered from the Daily Stitcher because she's so close. I'm like, that'll be there. I think it's coming today. Honeycomb, Classic Colorworks, is what I used for the yellow. And for the white moon, I used Picket Fence from Color and Cotton. So this one I'm going to tuck away. And then next year, I'll finish up the bottom. So that is a carryover whip. Then the other big one, I don't have the full picture of, is Tree of Magic. It's a Barbara Anna. I've had it for a long, long time. It's the one that you could get from Nitka Moscow. I have no idea of its current availability. There's no big picture of this one, just this tiny card, which is upstairs in my mess. This one I'm stitching on 28 count wheat Lugana because there's a lot of white and I really wanted it to show. So I told myself this was a restart. This was my oldest whip. It was from 2021, I think. But I wanted to change the fabric because the white wasn't showing up. So I decided when I had literally on the old one like that. So I restarted it and it's now considered a 2023 to me whip. So I wanted to get 2 shelves, kind of 2 half tiers done, which I did. There's one more giant one on the bottom and 2 little ones on the top, and then obviously the other side. And I waited because I'm gonna do all of this first, and then if I really wanted to, I could omit the last tier because it ends the same, right? It just kind of ends. So we'll see. If I find a finishing piece or a frame that it would fit in a little smaller, I might choose to just leave it a little smaller. That one came with the floss. It's all DMC. Very few colors. So this is a mess. Down it goes. So that one again, carryover whip for next year. The other 2 whips that I have that I've been working on, I started this one. This was my retreat start, although then I picked out what I did at the retreat. This is Troublemakers by Pedal Pusher. It's one of Barbie's new releases. It is now on her Etsy store, and I've seen it on 123, like Kaufman has it, so shops can get this too. So that's the chart from Pedal Pusher. When I did this, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna sub those DMCs out for Fancy Floss. And then I was like, why are you making this harder on yourself than it has to be? I had one pumpkin in with no innards. I picked it out and I used the DMC because now I can do this at tennis and it's easy and I don't have to think. So that's where I'm at. I'm using the Call for DMC and this is a piece of fog. Picture this plus, I think it's a 16. So these pumpkins all have like inside lines, but I'm kind of doing all the big ones and then, you know, when I have one on my thread, I can fill it in. So this is my current car stitch. And probably will be for a while. Like, I don't know if I'll get it done, but it's pretty small. Although as we'll talk about pretty small in a minute, that doesn't mean anything. The other whip I have is a new start. I was planning on starting this on October 1st and it didn't happen, but I did finally start Pumpkin Fair from October House Fiber Arts. This is the latest in Robin's Fair series. I am using the hashtag Pumpkin Fair Sal and hashtag October House Fair Sal, I believe. Not that you can search hashtags anymore. I'm using all of the called for colors except one that I didn't have that I'm using the DMC and 18 count Heartland Picture This Plus. And I got the pumpkin done. If you've done any of these with me this year, right? We did Strawberry Fair, then we did Honey Fair. This is Pumpkin Fair. This pumpkin, honestly, stitched up easier than the strawberry or that bee scap. So I thought it did anyway. So the pumpkin is done. I finished it yesterday. The rest of this, honestly, should not take that long. So hopefully I can get this one done this year. Probably won't get fully finished this year, but at least I could get it stitched. So we'll see. This is in a sweet, sweet bag that Robin actually sent me. So that's my whips. Plans, I pulled down what I have for carryover whips of Thanksgiving and Christmas because I'm transitioning to try and get some of these done. There's only 4 of them. There's only 4 of them and one of them is about to not live with me anymore. So speaking of small charts, don't we all have this one chart or many charts that it's a small chart and you loved it, that's why you started it. And then for some reason, every time you pull it out, you're like, ugh, I don't want to work on that. And it just lingers and lingers and lingers, even though it's small. Well, I have one of those. I actually have 2 of those. One of them I had UFO'd. It was a Biscornu from Heartstring Samplery that Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch did, and I'm like, I want to start that, so I did. And it's huge, and I got bored of stitching the same thing, and I'm like, even though I'm 3/4 done with one side, I UFO'd it. I'm like, I'm done. I wrote down all my information in case I want to ever go back to it, put everything away. When I was at the retreat, I was talking to Amy, Gable Stitcher, and I said something about, you know, calling that one off, and she's like, I'll finish it for you. I'm like, what? I'll finish stitching that if you will fully finish a couple ornaments for me. And I'm like, sold. Great idea. Because Amy stitches these big, giant projects. So for her, she's like, this will kind of scratch the itch of a new start, and it's tiny. So for her, to her it's tiny. To me, it was big. That's why I got tired of stitching it. So I need to package that up and send it to Amy. And she's gonna finish it and then send it back, and I can fully finish it. Well, this one is the other one. And this is in this book. This was from the Black Needle Society a few years ago, and it's a Christmas Carol, and within it are some different charts. And I started this one last year. It's from Liz Matthews. It's adorable. I don't know what it is. Every time I work on it, I'm like, ugh. It's tiny, it's 60 by 60. So when I was at my parents' house this weekend, Donna was talking about, oh yeah, I want to start that humbug chart from the book. And I'm like, you do? She's like, yeah. So do you want mine? So she is inheriting my whip. I don't know if I just got bored of stitching leaves. I don't know. I don't know what it is. So that one got crossed off my list. Now it's Donna's problem. So it's all in the bag, Donna. Even put the book in there. Don't let me forget to give it to you. So that one's off the list. The other ones that I have, this one is so pitiful I don't even need to take it out. Can you even tell what this is? That's one of my reindeer. That's one of the Nordic Corbett reindeer. I did Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, so this is Comet. I started him in July. These actually stitch up pretty quickly once you get moving on them. There's big chunks of color and they're small. They end up being like 5x7. So this one I would like to get done. I'm stitching all of my reindeer on 16 count Picture This Plus Haven Ada. I'd like to get this one done. Maybe I'll start the next one. There's 9 altogether. This is number 5. So I'm getting there. I've been working on them since 2020. Then I have another little small that I started last year and just ran out of time. I like to stitch Thanksgiving stuff in November because I like to have something different to put out when I put the Halloween stuff away. And I like turkeys. So this is an older one. It's called Secret Turkey Hunt from the trilogy. I don't know how easy this one is to get. I know last year when I started it, a few people looked for it and they couldn't find it. So this one is Secret Turkey Hunt. Mine is on a scrap of something. It's a 16 count Ada, that's all I know. And that's as far as I got last year. I don't know if I'll stitch the border or if that would make it harder to finish straight. That's a later problem. I have ice in there today, so I keep trying not to get it. And I think I'm using the called for colors for that. I haven't really pulled that one out to kind of go through. And then the other one that is a winter whip is, I don't have a finished picture. This was from the Autumn Lane Stitchery Christmas box. So last year, this chart should be coming out fairly soon. I don't even know what they called it. Snow Days. I'm stitching mine on Enchanted 28 count Lugana from Mystic Fabrics. This one really needs an iron. That's Emmy ripping up my couch. So I have the bottom, it's one of their circle designs. I have the bottom, there's something there, and then there's like a little town scene, I think. So I'm excited to get back to that one. That was really fun to work on. I worked on that until kind of winter was over. Tucked it away. Oops. So that one will be coming out. And then the other thing that I'm just starting to pull stuff out for, I really want to start this. This is Turkey Day from Cottage Garden Sampling. I love that turkey. I did the fox. This is from a different series, but I did her fox. And yes, there's a lot of patterns and things in there, but I liked it. So I have all my colors pulled, and then I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna see about some fabric. Laura from Stitching on the Shore is working on this, and every time she pulls it out, I'm like, oh, that turkey. So that one may get started. Hopefully we'll get started. Donna got me this for Christmas last year. It will not get finished. So that's what I'm gonna be working on. We'll see what I get to. Purchases, I only have one thing that I actually pre-ordered ages ago and it just came in, and that was this cross stitch with Catitude. It's by Emma Congdon, who is Stitchrovia. I love her books. She's done several books, actually. Here they are, how convenient. I got this right on Amazon. I'm not gonna do a flip through, but I will show you my 2 favorites. She always does one of these big giant ones, and it's always like my favorite one. So there's this big one, which actually that one is smaller than some of our others. It's 170 by 121. And then that one's peppy right there. At least peppy with me. So I picked up that. That's it. Giveaways, I think, is the last thing. These got kind of out of order, so just hold on. They're out of order from the way that I wrote them down, and I like to keep things in order of my notes. Okay. We had 2 last calls. Autumn Blessings is Kathy Simeth, Simmeth. And then Erin, Seryn, was Halloween Kisses. So if I don't hear from you by next video, those will go back in the pile. So then this week, I had 2 giveaways as always from Carla at Cobweb Corner. I always link her website down below and her Flosstube, which now that she's getting back from farming, I'm sure she'll be back to her new in the shop videos that always make me go, ooh, I've never seen that before. Ooh, that's cute. So, and she just posted a whole bunch of Nora Corbett and Mira's in bead packs because she got a restock of those. So if you've been looking for something, she may have it because she worked on getting those in the shop while she was gone. So those are now available. Speaking of cute turkeys, we had this one, which was Thankful November. I have this chart, and that turkey's cute too. Emmy's going to town. This is going to Marlene Zagar, Z-A-G-A-R, Marlene. Number 2 is Fall Fields from the Prairie Schooler. This is Sharon Price. And then I pulled 2 out of my Pass the Stash buckets. There she goes. Twice Blessed. This is a hands-on design. Kathy K. And Cinnamon Stars, which a lot of people were interested in, is Melissa J. So that's last week's. This week, again, we have 2 from Carla, and then I pulled 2 from the bucket. 2 are Christmassy and 2 are straight winter. So if you're interested in the giveaways, you need to be over 18 so you can legally give me your address. Please don't say win or giveaway. I'd appreciate it if you're a subscriber. I'm almost at 15,000, which blows my mind. And also it's funny to see, like, when you look at your analytics and stuff, like, there's a lot of people that watch my video that aren't subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, think about subscribing as Emmy makes more noise. I didn't even see her come back down. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Just use the numerical number, and that's what I'll use to draw. Number 1 is a Shannon Pristine Christmas stamp collection. These would be really cute on perforated paper, on like some kind of wooden tag. So those are really cute. So that's number 1. Number 2 is a Stony Creek Christmas Sentiments. I think there's some beads in those trees, but not that many. So that's number 2. Those are from Cobweb Corner. And then from the stash, Winter House Trio number 3 from Waxing Moon Designs. These are always great charts. And number 4 is Lizzie Kate Snow Story. And it's 3 charts. And they stitch together. These do not have the buttons, so you would need to supply your own buttons, but they're all like tiny black buttons, like they're this, well, you can see better on this one. They're the buttons on the snowman and stuff. So those should be fairly easy to find. So number 4 is all 3 to make that. Boop. That's it. That brings us to the end. I even went over plans. I don't even have anything to wrap up with here. So enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. It was sunny when I started. Now it looks like it's going to rain. I'll go see what kind of nonsense these cats have gotten up to while I've been over here, and I will talk to you again in a couple weeks. So see you later, guys.